Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mind Pump. In this episode, we talk about a simple hack that will allow you to reduce your calories by 10%. We also talk about how porn may be making you emotionally and mentally weak. In the second half of the episode, we answer 4 questions from our Mind Pump Media Instagram account. Questions such as, when bulking, what's more important, total number of calories or grams of protein? Can Zercher Squats build muscle? And can people lift more weight when they don't know how heavy the weight is? Finally, a quick reminder, we have another channel. It's Mind Pump Clips, where we have short clips from the show that you can share and enjoy. All right, enjoy the show.
Here's an easy way to reduce your calories by 10 to 15%, okay? You don't have to count calories. You don't have to look at your food. Simply eat while not distracted. Studies show that when people eat while distracted on their phone or watching TV or doing something else other than focusing on their food, they actually eat 10 to 15% more calories.
So I actually think that this is going to get worse. I mean, we're
always distracted.
Yeah. Well, not only are we always distracted, but we're also living in this kind of time frame where, I mean, at least in our lifetime, I clearly remember what it was like not to have a cell phone everywhere I went. Yeah. And I even catch myself now where, I mean, if I leave a room and I don't feel it in my pocket or it's not in my hand, like I stop and go back and go get it. Like it's just, and it's not even something I consciously think about. It's not like I go like, oh, I absolutely need my phone, because technically a lot of times I don't even need it what I'm doing.
No,
but
in fact, it's so natural. You don't even think about it until it's not there.
That's right. That's right. So I feel like the studies that are around this are still on the front end of this, the beginning of how ridiculous and how distracted we're becoming and how plugged in we are. So the numbers of like, oh, it can make a 10 to 15% difference, I think is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how big of an impact I think this is going to make in the future.
I agree with you, because what the studies do is they take people and they have them eat, and then they have other people and they have them eat, but while distracted, and then they measure the calories. But I agree with you, Adam, because it's become such a big part of our lives that there's so many far-reaching consequences or effects that we haven't even begun to identify them. But really the point of this is that, you know, there's 2 ways you could approach cutting your calories by 10%. Because if you're eating, let's say your maintenance is, 2,200 calories, right? Cutting your calories by 220, it's a small cut, but you'll still see some weight loss over time, especially if you have a good workout routine, right? So there's 2 ways to do it. Either count your calories and try to cut 220 calories, or simply eat while not distracted. And the reason why I like that is because it's easier for people to stick to, or at least it doesn't feel as restrictive. It feels restrictive when you're counting your calories and you're saying to yourself, no, I can only eat 2,000 instead of 2,200 or whatever. Doing it this way is like, well, I'm gonna eat like I normally do, and I'm gonna eat until I'm satisfied. I'm just not gonna eat while distracted. And the studies show it'll lead to the calorie cut that you're looking for. It just doesn't feel nearly
It's just an overtime thing. It doesn't feel that significant.
That's right.
That it's really impacting you like that. But every single time that you're eating and you're observing something on your phone, you're watching TV, like your mind's elsewhere and you're just still consuming. I mean, it's pretty easy to see like 100 calories, 200 extra, just over time and week after week, how that volume's going to really stack up and add weight.
Yeah, I think this also just makes you a better person too. You're not the asshole who's sitting at the table on their phone while there's other people that are conversing.
Rude. I also, like one of the rudest moves.
And now I also think that besides the initial calorie cut that this would result in, you would also slowly over time notice more and more benefits, because eating while distracted, one of the theories as to why this leads to higher calorie consumption is that it keeps you away from or disconnected from, to an extent, the signals of satiety that you get when you eat. So your body will send you signals that say, okay, we've eaten enough. I think we're satisfied. But because you're distracted, you don't pick up on them as quickly. And you keep eating until the signal gets strong enough to where it overcomes the fact that you're distracted. And you say, okay, I'll stop eating now. And that results in 10% or 15% more calories. But there's other stuff associated with that, right? Not being connected to my body's signals means I'm more likely to eat foods that aren't good for me. I'm less likely to be able to develop good relationships with food, so I can have balance with my diet. So in my experience as a trainer and coach, when I would tell people to be focused when they eat, or present, I should say, when they eat. So don't have your phone, don't watch TV, just eat and pay attention to what you're eating. Not only did they end up eating less on accident, but they also start to develop a more attuned relationship to food, which led them to have more natural balance, because we are so disconnected from our food because of being distracted, or because foods are designed to make us overeat, like heavily processed foods, or we eat when we're stressed out or whatever, that it's hard for us to make good decisions because we're not able to read our bodies very well. We're so disconnected from it. So this doesn't just lead, in my opinion, to a natural calorie reduction, but it also puts you on the path to being more connected to your body, which will lead to eventually a better relationship with food.
Well, and I also noticed like digestive issues as a result too of like it just promotes that sort of speed, because your hand is just like constantly feeding you. You're not really chewing enough either. And so that whole process of like, you know, really breaking the food down, getting the saliva production, you know, going through that process, getting to the stomach where everything has like a little bit more of a slower timing. So your body's able to like adequately react the way it should. I do that all the time where I have to like, you know, check myself on that. Cause if I'm eating too quick, I'm going to suffer, you know, and get the consequences of the acid reflux or things like coming up as a result of that.
Today's free giveaway is MAPS Aesthetic. That's a great bodybuilding style workout program. Here's how you can win. Leave a comment below in the first 24 hours that we drop this episode. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. If we like your comment and declare you the winner, we'll do so in the comment section, and then you get free access to MAPS Aesthetic. One more thing before we start this episode. We have a sale going on with 2 workout programs. MAPS OCR, OCR stands for Obstacle Course Racing, and MAPS Cardio. This is an endurance workout program. Both are 50% off. If you're interested, click on the link at the top of the description below to get set up with either MAPS OCR or MAPS Cardio for 50% off. All right, here comes the show.
You know, speaking of fast food, have you guys seen the new feature on the DoorDash app?
Oh yeah, you can make it come even faster with a little extra money.
Yes.
I know.
Twice it got me.
Bro.
Twice.
Every time I order
Twice. I'm just, okay.
What is it, another $4 or something
Bro,
like that?
okay, it's $2.99.
Okay.
So here's what's funny about this feature.
Okay.
So ever since COVID, we use DoorDash a lot.
By the way, can I say this real quick?
What?
15% of the time they mess up my order. Are you getting it that much as well?
15%?
10 to 15%.
Oh yeah, I'd say 1 out of 10. Yeah.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
They got to fix that. Anyway, continue.
So we use the app quite a bit. So I was privy to it as soon as it hit, right? So because we're on there damn near every day from DoorDash, just about. And I see it pop up there, and I tell Katrina, "Look at this. This is crazy." I'm like, "There's literally an ability to make it express, and it's like it shaves 5 to 10 minutes off. It's not even a lot. So it gives you your time range for the normal order or express for $2.99 more." And I laughed. I'm just like, that's ridiculous. Who would pay an extra $3?
You did.
I said that out of my mouth like the day before. And then the next day, I caught myself being like, because you know why? I was already spending like $100-something on like a delivered meal for her.
That was
I'm like,
$3.
yeah, what's $3 more to make sure it gets here.
So,
and I was time to time before we had to put Max down for bed. And I'm like, oh, if I do this, it might cut in that. So I was like, oh, it got me. And it got me again. So crazy. The psychology of that. That's brilliant.
I've done it quite a bit, and I've actually looked at the time, the real time, because the estimates will tell you like 10 to 15 minutes. So the range will be like 15 to 30 minutes. And then if you do the normal option, it's like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But reality, it's like more like 20 minutes. So if you actually count the time that it takes to get to your door versus how much it usually will, it's like a 20-minute saving, which how funny is that? 20 minutes sounds like a lot because we're so used to shit that's instant. It's really nothing, right?
So what I think, so I think the way they solved it, and what I actually think is really interesting is I think that they were actually addressing one of the biggest problems, or one of the things that I was most frustrated with personally, and I don't think I'm alone on this, is a lot of DoorDash people will run multiple orders at once.
That's exactly it.
So I think if you do an express, it's a direct shot.
Yep. So
they can't do a second order, which that to me is almost worth the extra $3, because one of the things I hate worse than my order being messed up, my order being freezing cold.
Yeah.
By the time it gets there, and I see the guy going around.
Yep.
It's like he's literally not that far from my house.
How often do they eat your fries?
So that used to happen, but they made a thing now where they
tape it.
seal it. so that doesn't happen.
Okay.
You guys
See,
not DoorDash very much?
I'm not a DoorDash. No, never.
They don't come to your place. That's why, huh?
Yeah, probably. We don't touch those.
not trying to act awesome. I don't
we're gonna
do
get
that.
murdered out there.
I
Yeah. No, we're always looking for like ways to get out of the house. I think that's part of it, and also, it's a good way to keep my weight under control.
Now I know you're lying.
I'm always looking for those, those little hacks.
I mean, that was like, I wanted to bring that up, but last night, this was not planned to even talk about this, but I was going through my finances, and I just, I try and do this every, I don't know, say 6 months to a year, just almost like.
Don't tell me how much it costs to buy food. Can you make me or crap me out right now?
Dude, so,
it's a lot, dude.
So, I mean, I believe the same type of disciplines with our health is our financial health.
Yep.
I believe the same thing too, like just tracking, becoming aware, right? It's
Yep.
I understand how to manage I'm very good at saving, I'm very good at investing, yada, 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 but I
you
still
can navigate.
But I still will recalibrate every 6 months to a year and just track, just to see what I'm doing. And holy fuck, the DoorDash thing is in the thousands of dollars a month on top of what our normal grocery bill is. And when I looked at like opportunity to like easily save like a few $1,000 here and there, like it's that for sure. And I couldn't believe how high it was. I mean, I hit like $2,000 in less than 2 weeks.
And you, Katrina, and your son.
Yeah.
I got 3 kids. I almost got a 4th one on the way. I know. I look at mine. So, I tell Jessica now, or not tell, I mean, we both work through this all the time, but we try to finish our butcher box. We try to finish like food that we have before order food, and we save it for like when convenience really needs to happen. So she's like, honey, I got to go to this appointment. I got this going on. I'm not going to necessarily have time to cook or whatever, or we're really tired, but it could easily get away from you.
Oh, it's gotten fully away from us. For sure. And and the way I justified it is like, listen, I mean, that's half of why I work hard and make money is so I get that time back, right? So that's the justification in my head is like, oh, well, I'd have to go to the grocery store, then I have to prepare all this. Instead, I get to have someone deliver to me. So it's the convenience of it. So I play this game in my head of justifying why I should do that. But then again, like anything else, it can get out of control. And it absolutely has gotten out of control. And I was just telling her this the other night. I'm like, dude, we have to rein this in. It's just ridiculous. It's too much.
Dude, speaking of, I got to ask you, Adam, I just read a study on probiotics and skin health, in particular psoriasis and eczema.
Really?
Yes. Are you using, you're going to make me mad, I know it. Are you using seed regularly?
Oh, I'm not. I'm
Come on.
I'm not even good with just being honest. I'm not even good with Dr. Cabral's protocol. I was so good for 30 days and saw a big difference, and then yet still.
So use the seed.
So bad about the pill thing, dude.
You know what it is about? I know what it is.
At least you're honest, dude.
It's because you don't have
people.
It's because you don't have gut issues. Because gut issues are obvious.
No, you're right. So here's and this is being also
because I use seed every night, but I have gut issues.
The thing is, I mean, married, have a kid. I'm like, psoriasis is like, yeah. So it itches, it bothers me a little bit, but it's not like debilitating, right? It's more vanity. It's like, oh, it does. I hate the way it looks,
Got it.
But it doesn't like really affect me like your gut probably gets affected. And so, yeah, you're right. I'm less motivated to.
I'd be interested to
stay
see
on top of
if you use it regularly, how it affects your skin. Because I just read a study that showed that it definitely can help skin issues. It also, probiotics can also positively influence mental health. They actually have enough studies showing that it helps with depression, anxiety for some people.
Because of that gut-brain axis?
Yes. Yeah. So pretty, and seed is by far the best. I've never used a probiotic, and I've used a million different brands. It's by far.
You know how many people
motivates me to get back.
You know how many people I've heard that from?
It's the best by far.
Yeah.
It doesn't even come close.
Well, that's good to know, because I was actually just approached one of my friends who coached the JV football team this year. His girlfriend has like psoriasis that trying to work through, and was asking about, because we do some commercials with Caldera and some things and some interventions we've talked about with like the red light and things like that. You know, what has the most impact with that? So it's like,
it's interesting. Speaking of which, so I double checked on something that we learned about. So we did an interview with from the CEO from Organifi and one of their product developers, and they mentioned something that sounded so crazy to me. I definitely think they're honest people, but I went and looked it up just to make sure. I did not know this. So glyphosates, these are the chemicals. These are the herbicides that they spray on GMO plants, right? So GMO plants are
To kill weeds.
they're genetically modified to not die if they get sprayed with glyphosates. So what they do is they grow corn and then they blast the whole field with glyphosates that kill the weeds, but the corn survives. So this is the whole deal. And people always talk about, the studies will show that glyphosates are probably not good for people. I did not know this. So they mentioned this. I looked it up. I had Doug write it down. I have it written down in front of me here. United States patent 7771736. If you look that up, glyphosates were originally patented as an antibiotic, not an herbicide.
That's wild.
So we're literally blasting the earth, the soil, and then people are eating food with glyphosate residues, which are antibiotics. But to make matters worse, I'm going to make this even crap everybody out.
Which, by the way, we've now come full circle on antibiotics, and know how terrible and how destroying they can be. It's not ideal at all. You absolutely have to.
Well, check this out. Glyphosate is oddly effective against lactobacillus, bifidobacteria, and enterococcal species, which are known as being beneficial bacteria for humans. It's also
sound like a joke too.
No,
I can't believe you let him get away with that.
Yeah,
I can't believe
it wasn't obvious.
Now, here's the other part. It's also an ineffective antibiotic against Clostridium and Clostridium and Salmonella. In other words, glyphosates kill good bacteria and don't kill bad bacteria quite as badly. And we're literally eating glyphosates in their residues all the time.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
We're just totally hurting ourselves.
I think this is, I'm going to speculate, but all the food allergies and shit that is exploding, all the autoimmune issues, I bet this is playing a role.
There has to be a correlation there.
So anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this up is Organifi's one of the companies that not only they're organic, but they also go to another third-party company that also tests their supplements for glyphosate residues.
Yeah.
So something can be organic but still have glyphosate residues, either from rain or cross-contamination. Organifi is organic plus they test for glyphosate residue. So it's glyphosate residue free.
Now, so do you know the pathway for insecticides, a different chemical completely, right? So what are they testing in terms of that's prevalence in all kinds of other avenues as well? Is that showing up just as much as the herbicides?
Yeah. So there are studies that'll show that certain synthetic pesticides may have an effect, but remember DDT famously, which then they took off the market.
Yeah.
But the herbicides work through something called the Shikimate pathway, which is found in bacteria. So it's found in plants, but also found in bacteria. And yeah, it's not a big enough dose. You eat some GMO food. You're not eating a big enough dose to have a huge effect, but every day you have this low level.
But we know that it's not a good idea to just constantly inundate your body with these antibiotics. Yeah. So if it has that same kind of an effect, that's got to be detrimental.
That's right. And supplements can be very high in glyphosates because they're concentrated. So they'll take and make proteins or whatever and concentrate, and you may end up with high glyphosate residues. So it's just one of the ways you could reduce your exposure to these types of things.
Did you guys get the DM from the cricket farmer?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
What happened there?
Yeah, because we were having
a whole business out of cricket.
Well, first of all, she was saying that we were spreading the conspiracy theories around that the crickets
that there's the glyphosate. The World Economic Forum's kind of pushing us into.
Well, that first of all, the glyphosates would get in the crickets, and the crickets have to be raised in this organic fed, organic safe type of environment, and then that's a conspiracy theory that we're going to be forced to eat bugs. Which, by the way, telling people that they're saying or talking about a conspiracy has become massive gaslighting, to the point where it's pretty fucking funny when we look back the last 2 years on how many things were said.
Things were true.
Were conspiracy theories that have now come true in the last 2 years.
That word is irrelevant.
So now it's you've completely lost the power of that word to say that to somebody. It's just dude, if someone says conspiracy theory, I'm listening now.
More
you guys got me listening now.
More consistent than things I've heard, being passed as policy.
Yeah, dude.
It's pretty hilarious.
Well, no, the study I brought up talked about how insects have high prevalence of parasites that could be dangerous for people. Yeah, it wasn't glyphosates.
I said that.
Oh, okay.
So I made the comment of and how they controlling the bugs potentially get. So I made the comment of that, and then so she's obviously addressing what I said, Which whatever.
Look,
I mean,
here's
now,
the
you know
deal.
what's ironic
It's
though?
a
Did
valid-
you
it's
know?
a
You know
valid
that she was
form of
inspired
protein.
to go do that from our show. Back in 2017,
about the cricket chips?
we had Thrive Market as a sponsor, and remember we all tried those cricket chips, and I was like, "Fuck this, I can't do this." Remember that?
I didn't think they were bad. They weren't that
Oh
bad.
man, they messed with me just because it's crunchy and it's supposed to be crickets. That
Yeah.
just didn't
Yeah.
work for me. I didn't care what
There's
they
no
tasted
like little legs or anything. It wasn't like, you know.
I think insect foods will do okay as processed foods because you can't tell that they're insects.
Yeah.
I think insect foods as whole foods. So like we're always advocating for whole natural foods.
Yeah.
That would mean you literally go
Like
to
a
the store.
shish kebab of like huge crickets.
Yeah,
or
or tarantulas. Right?
Listen,
it's
there's
not going to work.
No, there's going to be a massive market for it because I imagine it's going to be way cheaper to produce than it would be like whey or something. So I mean, I love the idea of it hitting the market to fill a need for people that can't afford. Like we talk about high protein is so important for people to build muscle and to be healthy. And you know, one of the complaints that people say is that it's expensive. It's expensive to eat healthy and to buy steak and chicken and some of that. So I mean, I love it as an option for that. I mean, if you can't afford to get steak or a chicken and some of that, then you can have
what's
some
the
fucking crickets.
profile on like grubs? You know, like those big fatty, like, because I always watch these survival shows. They're always like uncovering some bark, and there's these huge like grubs, and they're like, oh, these are so packed with
Doug,
protein.
look at the calories of grubs. Let's look at the macros.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it's
They're one of
pretty
the highest.
disgusting, but yeah, you'd think that okay. So if that's the case, why aren't we gathering those and then smashing them down?
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, maybe crickets reproduce at a faster rate.
they do.
Oh yeah.
So that's
So-
probably why. So maybe that has a higher protein,
High
but
volume.
as far as how fast it reproduces in comparison to probably
So grub
crickets,
is 15% protein, okay, and 19% fat. It's actually a higher fat than
Yeah.
protein.
It's almost like a
They
nut
look
then.
fat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Big old fat.
I mean, I wonder why. Do you guys have any idea why the crickets and not the grubs? I mean, that would be my speculation is that you can reproduce at a higher volume.
probably
I
because
think you're right.
I think because crickets trying to sell grubs is probably harder. That's what I would think.
Oh, you think so?
I do. What would you rather eat? A bunch of grubs
It's
or
equally
crickets?
disgusting.
It
for
looks
me.
juicy,
Equally.
you know, like you bite into it.
No, I'd rather eat a dead dry cricket than a dead grub.
That's interesting to me because I disagree. I think it's equally disgusting.
Yeah, because you have like a lot of
Legs,
legs,
you
and
get little
thorax
legs
and
stuck in your teeth.
little-
How
little
frustrating would that be?
mandibles.
A leg,
I don't know, man.
you know, a squishy grub's like a gummy bear.
Did you know? Did you
Ugh.
guys? Justin knows this. I think we talked about this once. If you one of the best ways to clean like a wound that's like getting bad,
Yeah.
is to let maggots
Eat
it.
They eat the dead skin.
They eat the dead necrotic tissue away and clean that shit up real good.
Oh, really?
I had a surgeon tell me that. I had an old surgeon. This guy was almost ready to
Is this
retire.
like World War I stuff? or
Yeah,
what?
he's like, if you ever get infected or whatever, you let maggots eat at the wound. They'll clean that up real good for you. I'm like, what? He goes,
Yeah, and is
dude."
it true? Like I heard like originally for cuts and things they would use like glue, like some kind of like.
Oh, my dad used to do that on the
Oh,
job.
yeah.
Super glue.
Yeah,
He'd
super
slice
glue.
his finger like wide open
Yes.
from like a razor blade and then like super glue it closed.
It
dude.
works. I did that one time because
And then wrap it with duct tape for the day and then
That's my dad.
That was so
my dad always he knows that
Duck
tape
it
on
and
it.
fuck it.
Yes, bro. That's exactly
That
what
was like a saying, you know, the old guys.
My dad actually used to tell me this when I'd have a cut. He'd be like, "Put your hands in the dry cement; it'll make it stop bleeding." I wonder how those chemicals are in my blood, bro.
I know.
Like, what do you tell me, Dad?
Oh, you know how much
dude.
gasoline I huffed, dude.
Wait, why?
because he was right in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
It
told
was
that
an
story.
open. It was like a pure, just chemical cloud that we would go
Between that,
vacationing
and
with.
your CTE, bro.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about this. Like, I'm concerned. I'm alarmed a little bit. Like, I cannot stop. Like, just like totally injuring my head.
It's because maybe your head's too heavy
Is it
for your
too
body.
big? Is it like? I mean, you guys be honest with me here, because
You do have a big head.
yeah,
bro.
because like okay, so I was putting my trash out, and this is before the party and everything, and I have this little shed that slopes down, and so the back of it's sloped down. I'm putting something right behind it. I'm, down on the ground, and then I go to stand back up, and I stand back up, and I hit the top of my head right on the 2x4, like with so much force, it like stunned me. I saw stars. I fell right on the ground. I was like laying on the ground for like 5 minutes by myself. Now try and come inside and explain what happened with any kind of like I was like so out of it, and they're all like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, do I have to really explain what just happened?
Oh my
because I just
gosh.
like hurt myself.
Bro, didn't a year ago you fall off you fell off your snowboard and blast yourself
Yeah.
on the ice?
Yeah, that was like
That's
New Year's Eve. That was right before 2020.
Okay, so-
It's right before he started wearing a helmet.
Everything just went to hell. Yeah. Right
You know what it
before I
is?
had a helmet.
I'll tell you what the problem is.
I'm a little late to the helmet game.
By about one day.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what the problem
Shit.
is, dude.
Yeah.
You're too rough.
You do
You
everything.
take zero precautions.
You do everything rough.
Yeah, and my son, like I see it completely, like the pattern is continuing. He's
It's
In Everett?
haphazard.
yes, so many times
In Everett,
dude. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, don't, and he'll be grabbing a toy, and then there's the ledge of the counter or something, just bam. And
He's
I'm
just
like,
the-
dude, you just got to go slow and gentle. And I'm like, literally,
You don't
it's
have that
not
gear,
even
dude.
resonating to me.
No.
So, yeah.
That's so funny.
My brother was like that too when he was little. He would climb shit, like the most dangerous, scary stuff. It was like he had either no fear or no comprehension of fear, and so he would always scare the shit out of my mom. Knocked his teeth out once, and
Yeah.
another time, I think he was 3. He climbed I grew up in a 2-story house. He climbed the outside of the stairs and was standing on the outside where the banister is, and he couldn't figure out how to get back on the right side. So he's like, almost, if he fell, he would have died. And then he's like, Mom. After like 10 minutes, she's like, what? She walks over. He's like, I can't get down. She's like, don't move. So that's my brother, right?
Yeah.
So now we both have sons. Now, I'm the opposite. You guys know me. I'm very cautious.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do nothing scary, dangerous, whatever.
Yeah.
Unless that involves taking crazy supplement concoctions. I usually don't take big risks. And I was like that as a kid too. My son is just like me, and his son is just like him.
Yeah.
So his son will, like, if you don't keep an eye on him,
You were just telling me he was doing something already. I'm like, damn, he's way younger than Max.
Bro.
Max wouldn't even do that.
he will climb and jump, and you got to keep an eye on his kid. And he's just like my brother. He's such a twin, like super happy, smiles, laughs, just like my brother did. Also, keep an eye on him, because if you take your eyes off him for a minute, he's gonna do
get
some
into
shit.
something.
My son Aurelius, like he'll climb, you know how he goes down the stairs? He just started now doing it a little bit better, but he'll literally sit down like 5 feet away from the stairs and slide till he gets to the stairs so he can slide down. And Jessica's like, what's he doing? I'm like, that's my son, dude. He's hella safe. We never have to worry about him falling down, dude.
I feel like Max is that way too. He's super cautious. Like he's not, and which is, I can't remember. I'll have to ask my mom on how much of a risk taker I was at a really young age. I know I was like a late bloomer, so I know like I got into probably stuff like that later. He's definitely like that right now, and I'm always, as I'm watching him, I'm always trying to think, okay, what are the positives of this and what are the negatives? Like, how am I as a dad? Like, am I gonna have to really encourage and push him to take risk and do things like that, or hold him back? Like, so, and I'm trying, or is he gonna be so different than this? And I'm like I shouldn't even be paying attention. But I feel like you can tell, like you could tell your brother was gonna be that way at a very young age. I mean, I feel like you can see it in a kid, and you can tell your son is just like that. Everett was just like you. You can see the way he does everything.
You know what's interesting though is I did take big risks with like cars and like other things. It was certain things. So I don't know how much it carried over.
Well, see, I wonder if you were more like me, where we're just kind of like late bloomers to that. Like the risk stuff came for me like in my teenage years, like as a young kid.
Bad.
Well, I know you're right,
bad
but I
shit.
mean, when I think about the cars and snowboarding and the things that I
never
did,
left.
I did a lot of that stuff as I got older. It wasn't when I was younger.
Justin's gonna be 80 years old. He's been doing some stupid shit.
Break
What are you
my
doing,
leg or
bro? Get off
something,
the
dude.
get off the snowmobile, man.
Bro, I broke my arm twice in the same year, dude. Like I've done some shit, and of course, like I've taken him to the hospital at least like 4 or 5 times. So he's already put us through all that,
Dude.
And,
Yeah, I've never had stitches. I've never had a broken bone. The
What?
two,
I've had a couple stitches.
No broken
yeah.
bone,
Oh,
no
you've torn
stitches.
some ligaments.
I've tore ligaments,
Yeah,
which
same
are
here.
like freak accidents, right? I had a guy playing basketball. Guy fell on my knee. That's how I tore my ACL and MCL, and then I blew the Achilles just running up the court. So my major injuries were not doing crazy risk stuff. Now I've been knocked out before wakeboarding, so that got me. But I never broke.
You never had stitches, huh?
No stitches, no broken.
I got
bone.
stitches once on my head.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do a karate move off the top of the
Nice.
off the bookshelf.
Didn't we all think we knew karate after watching Karate Kid?
Dude, it wasn't just Karate Kid. It was old kung fu movies.
Yeah, and Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely tried to be Bruce Lee when I was a kid.
Yeah, those stupid movies got me in so much trouble because Like one time, my cousin and I thought this was our math. We did this math. It's like you're 8 and I'm 8. That means we could take a 16-year-old together. So we used to do math like that. And then we knew kung fu moves because we watched the movies, and we'd go and talk shit to older kids. And, cause us some trouble.
And you'd find like the big oversized gloves and just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
we do all the time.
That's bad. All right. Speaking of the brain, a study came out on pornography's effect on the brain. It actually so all of the characteristics of something addictive substances that model the brain. So drugs tend to model the brain or change the way the brain's wired because of the high dopamine that you get from it and the low, the low amount of work or the little amount of work that you need to do to produce that dopamine. So with a drug, you take a drug, boom, big dopamine boost. And we're starting to realize now that dopamine isn't necessarily the bad thing. It's the fact that there was no hard work leading up to it. So there's no balance, and it creates this.
Right. So now, are we talking about that in terms of relationships, like how that's affected, or like just the association with sex?
Well, I'm going to pull it up.
Just that it's addictive is what
It's
It's addictive, and it rewires the brain to a more juvenile state. So literally changes the brain so that it looks more like the brain of a younger person. You're more apt to take stupid risks. You're less logical. You're going to be more impulsive. It's pretty crazy. It creates sexual dysfunction. Marital quality starts to decline with lots of with pornography use. But really, they're finding now that the hyper stimulating effects of it damage the dopamine reward system, and it leaves it unresponsive to natural sources of pleasure, which is pretty wild. So it's and this is it. Look at they're showing that people who consume lots of pornography report greater depressive symptoms, lower quality of life, mental health.
So, question for you guys, because you both you have a boy that's a full blown teenager, and then Justin, you have one entering with Ethan. Is this a conversation? Do you share these studies with them? Do you guys talk about it? How do you talk about it? Like, is it
so? The conversation that I've had with my kids, because I know that it's going to be impossible for me to prevent them from having this kind of exposure. It's just so accessible. It's everywhere.
right?
So my conversation, with my son was exactly that. How it affects the brain, how it changes how your brain responds to arousal, how it'll make it harder for you to become excited and aroused around a real girl, how it distorts your views around sex and relationships. And I think that his generation is actually starting to figure it out because they're developing like the, no FAP or, no FAP November or whatever. That's all internet created. Young men saying, I'm going to avoid pornography because I'm noticing these negative effects myself, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
What about you, Justin? Have you guys talked about that
Had
yet?
a few talks, and mainly it was like we're starting to realize that he's like in that frame of mind where he has that kind of access. I think he's just realizing it, and like I know he's like starting to get real interested in girls, and like that's like he's mentioning things to me, and I'm like, okay, so we gotta have this talk because it is like I'm not gonna. And originally I was trying to like screen a lot of what he could have access to. And I thought that maybe that's sort of we could like sort of drip the introduction of a lot of these things. Cause they do have cool software out there now that you can kind of monitor afar and you can like describe like, so I can have it. So it allows like swimsuits. It allows like, some kind of like a skin or you could do like none of that. So like just it doesn't even, it'll block certain websites and access to these things. And so I was like, originally and I'm like, you know what, like they're at school, they're friends, like this is sort of the world we live in. It's just better to teach kind of how to navigate through all that, and so we are kind of talking our way through just like I'm having more conversations with him about girls in terms of like how to approach them, how to have these conversations, like just like get to know them and like kind of court and date girls, because he's still trying to figure that part out. And it's like versus now I'm competing with like half naked girls on Instagram and all this other stuff.
Now you guys don't even. Is he on Instagram yet or no? So you still won't let him. Now when are you going to do that? Do you know?
That's a good question, because for the most part I'm trying my best to kind of like educate him around what kind of detriments surround it.
I mean, is he asking for it on a regular basis yet, or no?
Originally he was, and he wanted more
TikTok?
what's the other way, like Snapchat?
Oh, Snapchat.
Yeah, we've already talked our way through TikTok, and so he's kind of on board with not doing that one, which is good. But like, there's a couple other ones that are out there that are a little less. It's more just like kind of chatting with the friends and less on like the pictures and the videos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. I mean, he's going to have when it becomes, I think maybe when he gets more into high school, that's going to be more of a thing. It's like a status thing. Like, I have my Instagram account and all that, and we'll kind of work our way through that when it presents itself.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's not super urgent to have it. I'm like, cool.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the research, because this ease of access to pornography is relatively recent, and the studies are just now coming out showing its negative effects. It's wild. It's got classic drug symptoms. Classic, like if you use a drug that has addictive properties, you'll find that you need more and more of it to elicit a similar result. Pornography, so these people who study it are showing that conventional pornography is not popular. It's getting more and more violent, more and more extreme.
Yeah.
In order to capture,
It's the only way you can go to get that same hit.
capture people's attention. And they're speculating that this may lead to more violence and violent sexual encounters as people find that less and less of this is actually giving me what I want.
Yeah.
Then they go and search for it in the real world. It's kind of weird. It is something that I think needs to be discussed because we've never been encountered with. We've never encountered anything like this.
Didn't they have a similar study about depression with social media recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one that we referred to. I talked about that, to kind of present that to Ethan. But yeah, this is another great one. I will definitely have a conversation with him surrounding that, because it's very much an issue that's going to become like, how are we going to get a hold of this?
Yeah, as I try and think about like what I would have done as a teenage boy if my parents told me I couldn't have Instagram, like, or be on those platforms, like whether I would sneak around, create a profile that doesn't have my face and name on it, and I feel like that's what I would do. Like, I would probably get on there still, but then I would use a fake name. I would use a fake picture. All my homies at school, and the girls I like to talk to, they would know who I am, and it would be like our inside secret. Yo, my parents don't let me get on these platforms, and so this is how I do it. And I think that there's probably, or you have like what Enzo told me about, which is like you have the front, which so
your parents
know about, like your real name, all your stuff, and it's like you never really use it, but it's there, so your parents think, oh, he doesn't really do it. They're monitoring that one while they have
you get your ghost account.
You have your ghost account that you're really doing it. I think that. But I think that was all Enzo's generation, and I hope you're both right, that like Ethan's generation and Everett's generation and Max and Aurelius, them coming up, that the pendulum will swing the other way, where they'll become wise, like, hey, we can have access to all this stuff, but it could lead to this, it could lead to that. So maybe they'll titrate themselves. I don't know.
There's data on binge drinking, so alcohol binge drinking, and kids who give themselves alcohol poisoning or have to go to the hospital or whatever. And they find that kids that grow up in households where alcohol is severely restricted and demonized are more likely,
they'll go in excess.
Yes, versus kids that grow up with like wine in the house and I had a little bit of here with my dad, or not like this big alcoholic issue, but and they know how to handle it better because they've grown up with it more. So my approach is trying to be more like that, where I'm like, okay, here's the deal, here's what's out there.
Yeah.
Here are the pros and cons, and here's why you need to develop some discipline around this kind of stuff. Because I feel like the other option is impossible. I don't see how you could, unless you go move into an Amish,
Well, I think
society.
I think it goes back to what I think is the general principle, which is just your kids. It's less about what you say to them and tell them; it's more about what you show them.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does dad handle alcohol? How does dad handle social media? How does dad do those things? And that's, in my opinion, probably the best way to probably get them to titrate it themselves, because if you, like you said, if you completely restrict or say you can't, and then yet I have one, right? I have the account and I say you can't have it, or I say never can you touch alcohol, and yet I drink every day. Like that would be, I could see a kid completely rebelling in both those situations. So I think the answer is to show them more that it is.
Well,
right.
think about your bad experiences with alcohol. It was all when you were young and you didn't know really how to handle it, or what was an appropriate amount, or how you would feel, or whatever, until you get older.
Too much too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would consume it, and then you would pay for it. And sometimes you'd learn the lesson from having to pay for it so bad. Sometimes you wouldn't. You just repeat the same mistakes. But yeah, like to that point, in terms of me using my phone, I'm always like conscious of that. I'm like, they're watching me. They're watching me on like, I'm doing work, whatever. I can justify, but they're watching me with the phone, and I'm like, I'm just modeling this, so I have to watch myself.
Right.
And then also too, it's like I want to outcompete it. So now that things have kind of slowed down in terms of me helping football or doing these other things, like I'm like, let's get out there, let's ride bikes, let's go, for these hikes and play sports and whatnot, but just do things in the
real world.
Yeah, be here. Like anything we can do to be here.
Yeah. Speaking of social media stuff, did I bring up to you guys the whole MrBeast thing? And he just opened a fund and he raised, did you see that?
No, what's going on?
With like a $1.8 billion valuation.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah. So he opened his own fund, right, to fund him. So, and I think he took, I don't know how many, 100 something million. Maybe Doug can fact check me real quick. MrBeast, $1.2 billion valuation, or raises money. I'm sure that'll pop up.
What was he raising money for?
Just to basically fund all the projects and stuff that he wants to do. So
Literally people just gave him money?
Yes, at a like I said, a $1 billion valuation. He got offered $1 billion for his channel and basically laughed him out the door. And I actually heard, I think it was,
Wow.
I think
I'm sure it's over time, way more.
more.
Yeah.
I actually heard Patrick Bet-David do a really cool breakdown of it. He's like, he picked his #1 video that has gone viral, like 250 million or something like that. He broke down how much a commercial is for the Super Bowl, which is like $1 million something dollars for 30 something seconds for like 1 million, like I think 100 million views or something is what the Super Bowl gets. So he says, just based off of that math, he goes, that one viral thing is worth like 800 and something like $1 million, something crazy.
Wow.
He's that's one video. Imagine all his videos. What is it?
$150 million investment.
Yeah, on a what? $1.5 billion?
I believe so.
valuation?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Well, I mean, that's the future
So this
of
is
media.
so this is why. Okay, that's why I'm bringing it up. Is like this is the future right here. You have somebody who.
These are the future media moguls.
Yes. I mean, the power that he has, and the fact that there's that many people that are willing to throw that much money at him is unbelievable. Bro. Have you ever heard him? When Joe Rogan interviewed him,
No, I haven't listened to that.
like he's like super conservative with his money and everything. Like doesn't even have a fancy car. He lives in like a regular old track home.
Yeah.
Just like
He just uses the money, a lot of it. He just dumps it right back in these videos and these ideas. And he's just like, it's amazing to me to see what he's created just by really just meticulously going through what makes videos better and like getting feedback and like tweaking things. And like, he's just the master of his craft.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's the future, man. Media has changed so much in such a short period of time. We're probably, I mean, how long do you think it's going to take before
Less than 10 years.
old media is gone?
Less than 10 years.
You think so?
I think, I really think like, for example, like it's around the corner that your big companies like the Pepsis and Cokes and stuff like that are going to spend less and less money on Super Bowl commercials and being in the middle of like the biggest sitcom or whatever that. And it's going to be find someone like this and, and pay them huge money to represent the company. I think that's going to become as powerful or more powerful than
Now,
like
let me ask you
your
this.
Michael Jordans or your big athletes.
Now let me ask you this, because you got a guy like MrBeast, right? And so what's a big like Coca-Cola sponsorship typically? 20 million, 30 million?
Oh, to get from a brand?
Yeah, so let's say Coke sponsors an athlete. What's a big?
Well, look up what Hanes pays Michael Jordan, or look up like something like that will give us an idea of what you're trying to figure out what a brand would pay like a huge super
Be their
athlete.
spokesperson.
Yeah. Do how much does Hanes pay Michael Jordan? Tell me what that number is.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Because I would imagine.
That's probably a good guess. What is it?
$480 million between 2000 and 2012.
So 12 years.
So 480 divided by 12. What is it? I mean, you're right on. That's
about
about
40
20
million a year, something like that.
10 to 20 million a year. Did I do-
No, more like
40.
40, yeah.
40 million.
So, okay, so now imagine a company going to
damn, that's a lot.
MrBeast and saying, we'll pay you, I don't know, $30 million for a year to advertise with us. MrBeast could make way more than that, making his own soda and putting it out. He's already proven stuff like that. So I wonder if...
I mean, it's the same. We make the same decision with doing sponsorships. We could technically go make, Olipop. We could technically go make the hemp oil. We could technically go do all that stuff. But at one point, when do you recognize that building a business like that is a lot of work, a lot of stress?
No, I don't think he's going to build it. What I mean is I wonder if it's going to get so competitive that these companies start to pay flat rate plus a percentage or plus... So, because it's going to be very competitive, and these guys convert at way higher rates.
Well, I imagine he'll do what we're doing. I mean, I don't know too many people that are doing what we're doing, where now when we partner with a company, we actually invest in the company. Where someone like him, it would be smart to get so let's say something, we have 10 companies right now that we're sponsored by, and we also are investors in the company, right? You got to think that those companies in the future would go to him and be like, we actually put capital into these companies, right? We had to put our money in there. We're not quite MrBeast type of power, but someone of his power, it'd be worth for me to give him shares. Like, dude, I've got this company. I'm on my second round of funding. We got this valuation.
We're going to name the whole brand after you.
I'm going to give you 5% of my company.
Totally.
Just co-sign it.
That's what I mean. I wonder if it's going to start to change like that.
Yeah.
Because these guys,
companies offering them that.
Because these quote unquote new media influencers, whatever, they have way higher conversion rates than the old school media people because they have their own networks, their own channels. They have their own.
Well, there's nothing more powerful than a referral to a business than a friend. That's the most trusted source, better than any advertising you can do. When you own these platforms, when you have a podcast, when you have a YouTube channel, you build a relationship with your audience.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is the same thing as you telling your best friend, like, dude, go check out this burger joint. It's the shit. And so if you build a loyal audience and you build trust with your people, then when you point in the direction of a brand,
that's what I mean. Like, I think MrBeast could sell more like Hanes than Michael Jordan, perhaps, because he's got his own audience.
Oh, I 100% agree with that.
So that's what I mean. I bet you the future is going to look quite interesting with this kind of.
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, this is just showing this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is exactly where this is heading, and he's the first massive one that's going to get
crazy.
I mean, he's going to be a billionaire before you know it. And that's to think that this dude turned himself into a billionaire.
Yeah, when did he first start posting on social media, on YouTube? And
10 plus years. Andrew, you probably have the best guess.
Yeah, he's like in high school.
Okay.
So over 10 years now?
Yeah, he's like mid-20s. Yeah.
Wow. That's
okay,
crazy.
yeah, I think he's barely. Is he?
But I don't think. I mean, the majority of the money started happening last 5 years. Wasn't like he was crushing that whole time.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, it's just compounding, right? I mean, now he has, how many channels does he have?
Because he'll get like $1 million budgets for some of these videos that he'll make, like the one that he did for, what was that big one? That was the show that was like super popular where it was like a game.
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Yeah, that was one of his biggest ones.
That was one of the big ones. But yeah, he talked about just how much money went into production. Yeah. I was like,
well,
whoa.
Speaking of social media people and influence, stuff like this, this is you were on point with this, Adam. So Jake Paul, right? He beat Anderson Silva.
Right? Like, I'm not against somebody like forcing him not to. People pay, they choose to watch it. You know what I'm saying? But God, that would just crush me if I was a professional fighter.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And I've since I was a kid, like grinding in the gym and like trying to get good at my craft and like, taking knockout after knockout to climb the ladder the hard way. And then you see this dude who now, obviously, none of that would have been possible had he not built the network that he has.
And
first,
he's
no one
doing
would give a shit if he was a nobody.
Yeah, and he's training for reals and he's fighting for reals. So
But I mean, I see it happening all over now. I mean, I see people in our space, fitness space, fighting each other, and that's like the new way to network. Is find somebody else who's got a massive following. I mean, that's how his brother in KSI did it originally. He's a huge YouTuber in I think London or somewhere like that, right? And he decided that he has millions of followers.
Wow.
The Paul brothers have millions of followers. Hey, let's fight each other. You're like, because a good portion of your audience doesn't know me, and I don't. Then mine don't know yours, and so instantly they cross over 2 to 4 million people, and then like double their growth right away. I mean, that's kind of like the thing now. I feel like you're seeing that in a lot of spaces. Is
Now, what do you
just
do if
call someone out and fight them?
Well, I mean, what do you do if you're a boxing promoter or like Dana White and you see this? Because it's money, but Dana White's a bit of a purist, right? He likes to fight, sport, whatever. But at some point, this gets loud enough to where he's going to have to consider doing something like this.
Yeah, not really. I think both will
still a
exist.
bit of a circus.
It is okay. So
Well, I mean, remember.
It's a popular
Remember MMA
circus,
in Japan, Pride, which used
Yeah.
to beat the shit out of UFC back in the day. Pride had an element of this.
Yeah.
So they wasn't like all the fights, but every once in a while they'd throw in a fight that was kind of like weird. And
yeah,
like
but
a
okay,
set.
let's speculate on how this unfolds. I think, and I did think this was going to happen, but I also think that it's going to get oversaturated. I think we're watching that happen right now. Because everybody
It's going to lose its novelty.
It is going to lose its novelty. And when most people look back and like, oh, I watched 20 of these influencer fights and 19 of them were absolutely trash and one of them I caught like a cool knockout, you're going to start going like, okay, I'm going to stop wasting my money on some of this shit. And doesn't mean that there still won't be certain people that do like, and what the other thing that Jake Paul is good about is like he's great at talking shit and like making you like you want to see. He plays the heel really
which has
well.
been a part of the fight game for a long time.
Right. He plays the heel really well. And so half the people are paying just to see his ass get kicked. And he keeps winning. So it's brilliant. So everyone's just like, oh, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. How they're going to coexist.
Yeah.
You're going to have people that are purists, that care about the fight game, that care about the sport, that are going to continue to watch it. They're going to be totally.
That's a good point because
this is going to be like the WWE of boxing.
I agree. I actually think I think that's a great speculation because I remember.
Which, by the way, the WWE is a massive industry.
And I remember
It'll get bigger, yeah.
Huge money.
And I remember when there was a period there where it was like a secret, not really a secret, it was like an open secret that it was scripted. The fights were scripted.
Oh, yeah.
And then it came out and it became a thing and it didn't hurt them at all. At all.
Yeah.
No, because it's not
they're like, keep going.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they
so,
are,
yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a good speculation. So you probably will see, two things. Hey, look, you're not what you eat, you're what you digest. And did you know that as you age, your body produces less digestive enzymes? This might be why foods you enjoyed in the past are now difficult to digest. And if you're an athlete or somebody interested in building muscle, burning body fat, your high protein diet sometimes can be hard to digest. And sometimes all you need is just more digestive enzymes. Well, there's a company we work with that makes a product called MassZymes. And these are digestive enzymes for athletes and people trying to build muscle and burn body fat. Just take a couple with each meal and get better digestion, less inflammation, and better assimilation of all those nutrients that you need from food to help you with your fitness goals. Go check this company out. Go to masszymes.com. That's MassZymes.com/mindpump. Then use the code mindpump10 for 10% off any order. All right, here comes the rest of the show.
First question is from Mato Sibley. When bulking, does the total amount of calories consumed matter more than the grams of protein?
Oh, I hate these questions.
Yeah, because they're equally important.
But it depends. Okay, so if you're eating, protein is essential, meaning you have to have a certain amount in order to just thrive and survive. So if you're eating, adequate protein, then calories are actually more important because you could have a high protein diet, but your calories be too low and you're not going to build any muscle. You could also eat a low protein diet so long as protein is adequate, have calories be high and build muscle. Now you're not going to build as much muscle as somebody who eats high enough calories plus high protein. That's ideal.
The part that makes this question hard to answer is adequate. And what is adequate for you? Like if I ate
Individual variance.
If I ate 40 grams of protein a day and tried to build muscle on that, even in a calorie surplus, I'm not building muscle. 40 grams of protein a day is not enough to support that for me, even in a caloric surplus. Now, if I ate somewhere like around 130, which is still not ideal, which is not still towards the upper limit or where I get the most muscle from it, I could probably build some muscle on that so long as I'm in a calorie surplus. So it's like, how does someone judge what's adequate for them?
Well, so this is an argument vegans make all the time. So they'll show like...
Yeah, that's not as much as needed as necessary.
Right.
It's still needed.
It is needed because it's essential, but they'll say something like, I eat 50 grams or 60 grams of protein a day and I've built, so much muscle. So essential protein is what I'm talking about, like enough to cover your basics. And in that case, calories are more important. If you don't get essential protein, you can eat all the calories you want. If you're not getting enough of the essential amino acids you eat from food, you're not going to survive. Forget building muscle. You won't survive.
You can't survive long.
You won't survive, right? But if somebody's eating in a bulk, they're probably getting enough protein, usually. Not always, but usually. So, when in that particular context, enough protein versus, enough protein and high calorie versus high protein, but not enough calorie. Well, not enough calories just means you don't have enough energy. So you could eat, 200 grams of protein a day, but if your calories are too low, nothing's going to happen. Your body's not going to build any muscle because your calories are too low.
Have you guys ever witnessed like a very wide range of how people respond this way? Meaning, like, I've seen clients that eat very low protein or moderate protein, but you like build muscle. They respond. Their diet isn't even that great. They're just slightly in a surplus of calories, hitting weights, and the body just boop, 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 boop. Looks like it packs on muscle. Then I've seen other people that could be like dialed in, and it's like slow, gradual, build a little bit of muscle, fresh plateau, hard forever, take 5 steps back if they miss 2 days of not hitting their protein intake and calorie intake, and then they go back the other direction. Like, so I also think there's this massive variance of like how people respond to weightlifting too. And so my answer, if this was a client of mine, is like, don't miss either one.
Right.
Yeah.
If the goal is
both.
you want to build muscle and that's a major focus, and let's say you're having a hard time, and your question to me is, which one's more important? Well, they're both really important to you because you're struggling with building muscle, and we haven't been able to consistently do that. If you are missing your protein intake, then and you're not seeing results, but you're in a calorie surplus, well, then maybe you're one of those people that got to have a higher protein intake to see the response that you need to see. So
and also this the other part that's obvious is that protein has calories too. So I haven't hit my calorie targets, and I haven't hit my protein targets. What should I go for first? Well, both, because protein also has calories. So if you go out and get the protein, you'll get more calories as well. And in that case, I would say if your calories are low and you need more protein, then get it from whole natural sources like fatty meat. You're going to get the protein, plus you're going to get a lot of extra calories from the fats. It'll help you hit both of them. So the reason why I don't like a question like this is because it's, when this happens when I would work with someone. Let's say I'm working with a woman, and the goal protein intake for her is 120 grams. And she's at 100, but her calories are high enough to where she's in surplus. And she says, should I eat the extra protein? And I say, well, we don't want to gain too much extra body fat. Your surplus is already pretty high. Let's keep it where you're at. Like, that's where I can see the conversation become a thing.
Okay, so agreed, but I would also go back and I would critique what she ate for the day.
Of course.
Next time we got to
So
try
exactly.
really incorporate
So
them
for the
first.
day, I'd be like, so that's a great example to bring up, Sal, because I have been faced with that exact question from a client of mine, and I've said, no, don't eat anymore. We're fine, but let me look at your day, and then I go like, see where you had this and this. You should have ate this instead, and I will steer her into making more protein dense choices for the day versus carb heavy, which she ended up doing because that's what put her over the calories.
Totally.
And said, hey, it's not one day this low, not a big deal, but we want to consistently target that. So that's a very good point. And in that context, I would not go, just eat more protein because you need it too, because you've already gone over on the surplus of calories. But I will say, I would go, okay, well, then we need to rethink what you're choosing to eat all day because you're going over your calories, but you're not able to hit your protein intake, and we want to be able to do that.
Next question is from Preacher Man Joe. Can you use Zercher squats to build muscle, or is it a performance component in MAPS performance?
Zercher squats are one of those exercises. It's underutilized because it's hard. It takes time to learn. It's uncomfortable at first, especially at first, right? And it doesn't have a current history in like hypertrophy training or bodybuilding training. If you see someone doing a Zercher squat, they're probably a strongman, maybe a power lifter, maybe a functional kind of person,
guru or something.
But Zercher squats are great muscle builders. They work the posterior chain very well because of the placement of the bar, and it makes you lean forward a little bit. And they really develops the upper back because it creates this upper back scapula rounding lifting position where your scapula is somewhat rolled forward. So not a rounded back like your low back is rounded, but rather than your shoulder blades being pinned back, they're kind of rolled forward. It's called rounded back lifting. And it's going to develop the muscles in a different way or provide a different stimulus. So I notice when I do Zercher squats, I build my arms and my upper back and my hips really well from doing them when I practice them on a regular basis.
Well, they're asking if they get any hypertrophy benefit from it.
Or is it just performance?
These annoy me because it's like, you're in it for getting strong. Like, let all that happen on its own.
Yeah.
Like, why does everything have to be about like how it pumps your muscles up? Who gives a shit?
Some of us care how we look, bro. Okay.
Okay.
Back the fuck up.
You can do
Back
that
up.
with the other ones that promote that. Like,
That's
this is to build strength, and it definitely fits within like an area you wouldn't be very focused on otherwise, and having that sort of placement of load to where it does translate a lot towards most things you're going to pick up. You're going to be in this kind of rounded back
Yes.
position with any kind of a heavy bucket, a heavy sandbag, a heavy whatever it is that's like right in front of you that you need to pick up from point A to point B. So it's going to make you overall stronger, which is then something you can build upon from there. But like to just really focus it into hypertrophy, I think it's just stupid.
I mean, you will though. One of the biggest variables that you can manipulate in order to stimulate muscle growth is novelty.
Yeah.
And that is a very novel exercise. It feels very unique.
Yeah, pick an exercise that's similar to a Zercher
There
squat.
just isn't,
Yeah.
you know. So you will build muscle. You will have hypertrophy from it. This is what happens with the camps of, you know, the hypertrophy guys. You guys that have hypertrophy in your Instagram name or whatever, and they talk all about muscle building, pumping, and then they compare
Right.
exercise.
Then they'll
Oh,
talk
this-
shit about sleds,
or talk shit about
deadlifting.
deadlifting. Like deadlifting is not a great
build
exercise
muscle.
for
It's like-
back hypertrophy. Like, get the fuck out of
Kick
here
rocks,
with that.
man.
Are you kidding me? Some of the best backs I've ever seen are guys that could deadlift serious weight. So, no, I mean, it absolutely will do that. And then on top of that, I really liked him because it was something that was introduced to me way later in my lifting career. It's probably the closest thing to me that emulates me picking up a couch, you know, or something heavy up off the
Yeah,
ground.
you keep it close to your body.
Yeah,
Right?
you
gotta hug it.
kind of round it forward like that. Like that is more like that movement than a barbell back squat, which I love too. So, I mean, I find that exercise, you know, you get really strong and tough doing that. Watch how that carries over into other things that you do in your life. So, but yeah, absolutely, you can build muscle with Zercher squats.
Yeah, I got gains from it, and I did them regularly for a little while there because they're in Map Strong. So because it's programmed in Map Strong, and I got like back and glute. I could feel my back and my glutes building from it. It's actually a great. A lot of people don't know this. It's a decent glute exercise.
Yeah.
In fact, it's surprising that more women don't do it. And I think it's because it's kind of like relegated to that functional
Well, it's
strength training.
uncomfortable too. I mean, in the crook of
Yes.
your elbow and all that. So
Well,
I understand,
but there's a way
like,
to do
it's
it.
also-
I just always like really hard things. It just makes me feel like I have to struggle. There's a lot more struggle with an exercise like that than just, the comfort of something nice like sitting on your back.
Well, to piggyback off what you just said, Sal, it's physics. It's because you have the barbell plate. Like normally the barbell will be here on your back. Your barbell is over here, so it's wanting to tip you forward
Yeah,
this
you gotta
way.
activate them
When you
glutes.
slide the hips back into a squat, it's the glutes that move the hips forward to lift you up. And so literally the barbell is opposing the glutes. So I do think it's a great glute developer and like one of those hidden secrets as far as like training that for that reason. And I just to not do an exercise because you think there's this.
I'm going to say this too. Yes, it is uncomfortable in the crook in the crook of your elbow, but barbell squats when they weren't popular, one of the biggest complaints people would make is it hurts my back and my neck.
Yeah.
It's because you have to learn how to place the bar. Now people who
There's a
squat a
learning
lot,
curve, for
yeah,
sure.
like I could put 600 pounds. I can't even squat 600, but I can rest it on my back quite comfortably because I know how to position it. When you practice a Zercher squat, it takes some time to figure out how to really position your arms, hold them in position, and it not hurt your elbow. So
Yeah.
it's an exercise that takes practice. It's uncomfortable at first, just like a back squat was probably for your back when you first started.
I mean, I get the same thing with kettlebells and pressing, like just
Yes.
with the weight on the back of the arm, like, it bruised me, yeah, whatever. It's so annoying. Just fucking tough it out.
Next question is from Luca Curran. Do you think people can lift more weight if they don't know how heavy the weight is? Does knowing a certain weight is heavy make you perform better or worse?
There-
Didn't you bring that story up?
There's
There's a real story where a guy put more than his max on for an event, right?
an
Someone-
Olympic lifter, maybe Doug can find it, where they, and this has happened in powerlifting too, where they'll misload a bar or put more on that the lifter knows, and they'll think that they hit the world record or got close to it, but they actually broke it. There's some science behind this. Now, I would surmise that this could go
This is
both
kilograms
ways.
with me.
Kilo. Oh,
That's why I lift with kilograms, because it's like you'll do more
Because you can't do the math.
I don't even want to do it.
Justin's like, that's too much math for me.
It looks like less.
Yeah, it looks
you know,
like I
the
can do
number.
this.
put some green and red ones
Yeah,
on.
the green, the red, the blue.
You know, but I would surmise this could potentially go both ways. Like I
I think so too.
yeah, because I tend to not be heavier weights tend to jazz me up more than make me feel intimidated. I'm trying to think what exercise. There are some exercises.
No,
where
I
the
agree with
weights
that.
go
So I actually used to do this a lot with like female clients of mine that didn't want to like really lift heavy. I'd say, you stop worrying about the weight, let me worry about the weight.
I did this
I know
all
how
the
strong
time.
I know how strong you are and stuff like
Yes.
that. Because if they saw or told them I'm putting on 50 more pounds this week, they'd be like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Whereas I
It's a
said,
psychological
yeah,
barrier
don't worry
there.
about it's my job to worry about the weight. You just focus on what I've taught you form wise.
I used to cover the dumbbells.
Yeah,
with
I'd
my
tell them.
fingers
I would
when
tell
I'd
them
hand it to 'em.
afterwards, and I'd be like, you know what you just did, and they'd be like, what did we do? And I'd be like, we just increased our weight by 25 pounds.
I used to
today."
do that all
and they
the
would be
time.
like, what? I'm
Yeah.
like, yes,
All the time.
You're getting stronger.
In fact, on selectorized equipment, it was easy because I'd move the pin in the stack, and they wouldn't know, and they'd lift it, and I'd say, "Guess how much you just lifted? You know, 90 pounds? No, 100. 30 pounds.
Yeah.
No, this 100% can be an issue, and it's even been shown to be something that advanced athletes could take advantage of. The problem with this is, how do you take advantage of this? Because you know what you're putting on the bar,
Yeah.
and also
you also know if you're trying to get tricked. Like, hey, don't tell me. Put some weight on the bar.
and also, like a coach, this could also go wrong. Like Justin's like, I'm about to hit a 5-pound PR, and Adam and I are like, we're gonna make him lift 15 pounds more.
Little does he know.
Yeah, and then he hurts
His
himself.
arms are gonna rip off.
Yeah, I know. And Justin tears his pec, and we're like,
Yeah.
hey, we got something to tell you, bro.
That could happen. Yeah.
We were trying to help you out.
Totally. Doug, did you find any of the?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a story I've heard before too, and I mean, a classic example is what we just said with our clients. I used to do that all the time.
Yep.
It was definitely a great strategy, but I mean, that's where I don't know how you would do it to yourself, and I don't know how beneficial it would be to go into really, really heavy lifts and to not know what you're getting under the
I've
bar.
done this to myself purposely. Well, I'll load the bar and I'll just throw in weights on, and then I'll not add the weight and just add weight until I feel like I can't lift anymore, and then I'll add the weight afterwards.
Well, there's definitely like a mentality going in, because I could see what you mean in terms of like it being heavier than you expected, and then that all of a sudden like, you know, sparking this, oh no, like panic, and then you're not as apt to do it, versus like I see that weight and I'm charging myself up to hit that weight.
Next question is from CMOS23. If you couldn't be in the fitness space, what would all of you be doing?
What would you guys?
Should we speculate on each other instead of ourselves?
We did this
maybe
once a
we
long
should.
time ago.
That was stupid.
I know, it was
There you go,
dumb.
bus driver and some weird shit like that. It was like not real stuff.
Bouncer and a teacher.
You know, I could tell you, I know what I would do if I wasn't. I definitely wouldn't be in tech. I wouldn't work at a desk. I've tried that before, and it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I would be a teacher of some sort, either professor or teacher.
I see that.
I feel like that's close enough to what I do, and I like working with. I wouldn't mind working with kids, not young kids, more like probably at least teenage years and up. And I'd teach a subject that I really enjoyed, and I think that would be fulfilling. But I can't see myself doing really anything else. Like, it'd be really hard to work.
I mean, you say that,
At
but
a
we all
computer
know that
desk.
if put in the position where you
Well, yeah,
had,
if I had to, of
you
course.
would.
Yeah,
You
of
totally
course.
would. If it came down to survival or taking care of your family, you would do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I would. What's funny is this is probably a different answer today than if I had thought about this question maybe 5 or 10 years ago. I would sell luxury homes. I would sell high end, 15, 20 million plus homes. So I'd get into real estate and then work my way into the luxury homes and sell high end homes. There's some good rips in
Yeah,
that.
that'd be is that why, or because you also enjoy it?
Well,
though,
yeah,
too?
that's why I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy doing the real estate side of the house anyways. And so it's already something I like doing. That's why, okay, I think no matter what we all did, the smart thing to do is to move into another space that you enjoy. I mean, that's still the formula for success is to find something that you would damn near do for free, right? So obviously we found that within this. We absolutely love doing this. Then we made a business out of it. I mean, I'm on Zillow and Redfin every single night anyways, because that stuff interests me. I'm reading those articles all the time. So it makes natural sense for me to go in that area because I already like it. And,
Right.
And then, the fact that I can make good money doing it too is a bonus.
Yeah, I'd probably find myself like getting more involved in like learning film and music in some sort or both together in a combo.
Oh, so you'd be broke?
Yeah. So that's why I'm here.
Hey, it's not that much worse in the fitness industry. We all picked.
That's true. That's true.
One of the hardest.
Well, I've
industries.
never really cared about like being the gajillionaire or anything like that. Like I just want to do what I'm like passionate about. So yeah, I don't mind being broke. That's the thing. But it's better not being broke. For sure. I'm not gonna sit here and complain. But yeah, like I just want to like get what gets me up, and where I have an opportunity to create, even if it's consulting and doing creative projects. I guess creative projects, I would say. I don't even know if that is a category, but I'm gonna put it out there.
Justin would do a job that doesn't exist.
You guys want me? I'm here.
I have a degree in creative projects. You know what's funny is if money were something that were really like you have to make a certain amount of money, then my answer may actually change because
teacher, it
would be tough.
I mean, so that would change this, I would think. Okay, so fast forward 5 years from now, Mind Pump has stayed on this trajectory, right? So 5 more years of this trajectory. You've established a certain lifestyle for yourself, and now it implodes. We make $0 from this business. We have let's pretend we don't have investments with passive income. Yeah. You got to go out and go rebuild or do something different again. You ain't going to be a teacher.
Well, you know
you
what?
ain't going to go fucking painting.
Yeah.
Actually,
I never said painting. I make happy trees.
Actually, you know what though? I could do teaching, just not in the traditional sense, right? Do you go back to new media?
Or you could go YouTube and be like teach
Exactly.
online. No, I could see. So that's a good day. I think that's a good. Doug, what would you do?
I'm kind of with Justin. You know, I'd be a photographer.
Oh, you'd be broke too.
I'd be broke too.
You guys could be broke
buddies.
together.
We'll start a business together called Creative Things.
Creative cesspool.
Maybe together you guys would actually
I'll
piece some
like
good money
it.
together.
I could sell and educate your product to the
There we
audience.
go.
We'd all
And
end up
Adam
back-
could sell houses to support us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Sell
so
the
I pretty
house.
much financially
The
support
band's
it.
back
So
together.
I get to support all your bullshit you guys
We'll
are
have a
doing.
little studio.
Because you believe in
there
it.
that-
You believe in
Exactly.
the product.
I like this.
Yeah, if I had to just make money,
That works.
it would be sales of some sort. But God, it would be so hard. It's so hard for me to sell something I don't really love. I tried doing that with investments. It was torture.
No. Yeah.
It was, and I mean the banking investment industry. You can make a lot of money selling their investment.
That's really.
products.
I mean, that's to me. That's like the extreme. Like
It was just boring.
Yeah,
dude.
boring type of sales. Like there's stuff in between that I think you would like. I mean, imagine how fun it would be to sell like luxury yachts. That'd be fucking cool.
I mean, maybe for you.
Yeah, definitely.
You would love that.
Yeah, I would totally love that. I mean, I can think of a lot of things I could sell that I would enjoy.
Luxury yachts. Hold on a second.
I gotta go take these people.
Hey.
I gotta take these people out on this.
Not
yacht.
regular yachts.
Yeah.
Oh, regular yachts? No.
No.
I only
no,
do
no,
the
no.
luxury.
Yeah. It's got to be $1 million and
It
above.
has to look
dude.
like a Ferrari
Yeah.
on the water.
I don't think there are. Can you even buy a yacht for less than $1 million?
Like you get like little mini ones and used ones that are underneath that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I had a girlfriend's. Her dad bought like a smaller version. I think he paid $500,000 for.
Really?
His. Yeah.
Have you guys seen Leonardo DiCaprio's yacht? You ever seen his? I'm only interested in his yacht because he's always preaching to everybody about how you need to stop spewing stuff into the air,
Right.
save the earth.
Yeah,
and
it's
whatever.
like it
it
burns
like
up enough carbon for like
biodiesel
500
fuel
people
or
for
what?
a lifetime.
Bro, his yacht literally is like, I think it produces more carbon than like 1,000 people would do in a year.
Yeah.
Like
He's
one
up there
trip.
with one of the most expensive yachts, isn't he?
Yeah,
I know
maybe Doug
him,
can
Tiger
find-
Woods. Who's got some Jeff Bezos? Who's got some of the biggest
I know.
monster yachts?
Conor McGregor has a crazy one, right? He's
No,
got a
he has the
Lambo?
Lamborghini boat.
Oh, the boat.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
like I think it was like a multi-million-dollar, jet boat. It's like crazy.
I feel like a yacht is the ultimate like survival vehicle. Like shit goes down, zombies are everywhere. Get on the boat. We're gonna
out
float
on
in the ocean
water
real
from
quick.
now on.
Let everybody kill
Would it be
themselves.
safer in the ocean or up in the air?
Well, you can't fly forever.
I'm going to Mars, dude.
Oh, don't they already have like planes that are big gas tankers and stuff like that are always flying around?
I don't think they have nuclear powered.
No, they're not
planes
nuclear
yet.
powered, but I mean, I think they have big tanker planes that they're like the jet pulls up and fills up.
Yeah,
No?
you have to have that too. Then you have to have people come and fill you
Yeah,
up all the time.
that's fair, that's
you know
fair.
what I mean?
That's
I don't
fair.
know. Look, if you like Mind Pump, head over to mindpumpfree.com and check out some of our guides. We have guides that can help you with almost any health or fitness goal. You can also find all of us on social media. So Justin is on Instagram at mindpumpjustin, Adam is on Instagram at mindpumpadam, and I am on the newly free Twitter at mindpumpsal.
Newly free.
Newly free.